Welcome to the palace of Persephone. It's a couch. Just kidding, it's not a couch. It's an air mattress that I've lifted up on its side to be a nice backdrop amidst all of the storage items that are up here in the attic, in which I dwell for my video recordings because it's up above the rest of the house and it's quiet and somewhere where I can talk and share and regale you with stories. And so, thank you for clicking on this video and choosing to hang out in this comfy couch with me and receive and share in these juicy little insights that I have gotten over the last month or so. A lot of things have been occurring, and so I've been wanting to record them because my guides have been telling me to, and they told me I need to stop sitting on my butt and actually start working again, so that's what I'm doing. I'm listening and I'm grateful. I trust you are grateful too. Thank you for being here. And so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and move into the purpose of this video, which is to speak on the ability to receive the clarity one is seeking through prayer. Through prayer. Maybe this will be the thumbnail. Prayer, prayer, prayer. So what's interesting is I made a teachable course. Speaking about getting off my butt and working, I felt like I was working so hard doing that. I made a teachable course. I don't really know how to link it below, but I might try if you're interested. And I sat and wrote out a bunch of different important little, here's a little starter pack for your spiritual awakening or ascension, or just rising into a new state of being. These are things that I do that help me. And one of them that I did was about prayer. And kind of make a long story short, because I'm trying to work on being concise and clear and just allowing myself and spirit to flow through in a way that doesn't turn into like a 20-25 minute video, because I don't know if it's the attention span of us as humans, or perhaps just, people just don't like to hear the rambling or whatnot. But I digress. I'm going to try and keep it as concise as possible. What has led me to utilizing prayer more in my daily life and why? Because it's not something I would typically have recommended to you even maybe 2 years ago, maybe even a year ago. That's how recent prayer has come in and changed my life and drastically affected me. So let me tell you a story on the couch. Lay with me and listen. So I didn't grow up religious. I didn't grow up going to church regularly. I knew who Jesus was around 6 or 7. I was told who he was. I wasn't told much else. I was told about Noah and the ark, about Adam and Eve, and that's probably about it. And so I knew at night we would say our prayers, but when I was praying, it wasn't in a religious way. It wasn't in a way of I'm praying because I go to church all the time and I know you're supposed to pray. We just prayed for peace while we slept. So to me, praying was something that only occurred. I mean, we prayed before we ate too, but that was to give thanks. So when we prayed to eat, it was to give thanks. Thank you for our food. When we prayed to sleep, it was to pray for a peaceful sleep. I didn't pray when I woke up. I didn't pray in the shower. I didn't pray when I was upset. I didn't, there are so many other ways that you can use prayer, but these are the ways that I was taught as a child. And so I remember, now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. The angels watch me through the night and keep me in their blessed sight. It's like a little doll I had. I could squeeze its hands and we would pray it together. And that was all I knew. I didn't feel like I was praying to God or Jesus. I felt like I was just praying to energy, to life, to universe. I was just praying. I was just to me, the word praying, I guess, as a child, was more like sending out my heart's intention and knowing that it would manifest, if that makes sense. That's how I'm feeling it right now as I'm sitting with it. So thank you, spirit guides, because I called in my guides to assist me with this video before I started. And so as I moved through life, my mother became more religious when I was in middle school. Of course, as I'm entering puberty, this is the time that it would occur. And so I remember we'd start going to church, and there were a couple times, actually, I'll take it back. There were a couple times I went to church with my grandmother when I was a little younger, and she went to a church where people would get the Holy Spirit, and they would run around, and then they'd have a white blanket thrown over them. And so I was just I didn't know what was happening. No one told me. It would have been so much more of a beautiful experience if someone had explained to me the spirit of God, source, light, love, energy has entered into her vessel, and she's just expressing it. And she's like one with source for a moment. I would have been like, what? I want to be one with source. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I did have that. But then, my mom became religious. We spent a lot of time trying to become more religious. Like she married a man who was super religious, like shortly after that. And then I was like forced to read the Bible. And to me, just being who I am, I don't like being told what to do. I don't like being forced into anything. Everything should feel natural and flow organically, or you should at least respect me enough to present me with something and afford me the opportunity to have a natural interest in it. Because you're trying to push something on me that I'm not going to want it. Lessons for my own self, as well as like as far as things I talk about on the channel, like you should want to do this. Like everyone can do whatever they want to do. These are just the things that have helped me. And so I remember I was like forced to read and then memorize some of the books of the Bible, and some of it was really interesting. Like I remember choosing, like I would randomly flip open a part of the Bible and pick something, and then randomly open something else, and it was kind of like a cool way that I could interact with the Bible. But I remember, again, prayer was not being utilized. And I think I even prayed less over meals after she had exited out of the relationship with the religious partner, because the next partner that my mother had was like, didn't do anything religiously. And so there was like not really a lot of prayer before eating. I didn't pray before bed anymore. At this point, I'm like my high school life. I'm not really praying over my own meals. Like I remember at some point I wouldn't pray over my meals at school because I didn't want people to look at me weird. Like, why did I care? I'm blessing my food. Of course I'm going to bless my food. Of course I'm going to bless the hands that prepared it. I don't need any of their energetic frequencies on the food that I'm about to eat. I want it to be blessed and holy and light. I'm going to bless my food. And sometimes, it's interesting because my partner and I will bless our food now, and we have been in front of people who don't necessarily do that or pray over it. You don't even have to say I'm praying over food, just blessing your food, just anointing it, just sanctifying it. The energy portals of your hands are very powerful. And so I remember us doing it, and I was like, I would just do it peacefully. We weren't like, and now we're gonna pray for our food. Like we didn't like announce it. We just leaned our heads together, place our hands over our food, and just pray. And then you'd be surprised how many times it actually created a conversation where people were like, you know what, I think I want to start praying over my food again. Or like they'd be like, that's awesome that you guys pray over your food. It's never been like, you have offended and triggered me for praying over your meal. Like it's never been that. And so that's something I thought was really cool, a side note. So, like I said, I haven't been praying. I think there's like maybe 1, 2, or 3 times from high school to now. Those moments in your life where like things are going like really difficult and you're just getting so stressed out, like you just really want something to come true, and you're like, God, please. And like you come to pray when you never pray, and you're just like, dang, I know I'm desperate. I know I'm really hurting right now because I'm praying. That probably happened a couple times. And then I would say just in this last year is really when prayer came into my life profoundly, thanks to my partner. I gotta give that props to my husband. When I came back into his environment, I hadn't been praying over my food before I came back into life with him. I remember he has a specific prayer that he prays over our food, and I guess I can share it. I don't know, like, if you care to hear it or not. He's like, thank you for life, thank you for love, thank you for family, thank you for the opportunity to learn, to love, to grow, to serve, to heal, to transcend, integrate, and embody unconditional love always and always. Allow our temples to be open to receive the vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and proteins that this food naturally provides, for our body to utilize the rest in a constructive and productive manner, and all else to be flushed out through our ability to chew, hydrate, and move our bodies. We eat this food with healing intention, and so it is. Blessed be. Amen. And like he prayed that over like one of the first meals I had with him, and I was like, and I like, it's one of those things where I was like, damn, yeah, I did stop praying. It was just like it was a beautiful thing to receive from him. And so I started praying over all my meals again, which felt really good, especially when you've created the prayer. You said everything that you wanted to over your food. you've blessed it, sanctified it, and it does work. And then even at some point in time, we were like, oh, I'm going to send this food to my brain. I'm going to send this food to my butt, send this food to my hips, to my boobs, to my, wherever we wanted it, because we're both trying to gain weight. And it's just not working. Neither of us can gain weight. Anyhow, so that was last June. I would say, again, prayer didn't come in until this year. Last September, October, November, December, I just remember praying over meals. I would start praying. Yeah, it was all this year. I opened up my Pleiadian Emissaries of Light book again, and I've started reading it for YouTube, actually. You can check like a playlist for it. I have started to read some of the chapters I found really useful. And one of them is about how to pray over your house and how to pray at night to protect your body, how to pray to receive your downloads and your Ka activations and template upgrades to your body as well. All these different types of prayers and like proclamations you can say. And so I started kind of like sitting more with like, oh, I can pray over this. And then like before I would do my meditative sessions, or I would do light language transmissions on the channel, I would sit and meditate, and then I'd pray. And then I would pray to each of my guides to come in and assist me in sharing the transmission. Or I would pray specifically, like just recently started praying specifically to specific angels that I know preside over specific areas of life. Specific areas of life. Words, as Bami Spirit would say. They're weird. And so January, February, Marchish, I was getting really into sitting with Spirit to share light language transmissions. They were coming in very strongly, mostly with my galactic ancestors stuff, which felt really good. And then I started getting more from Gaia, which is more earthy, more grounded. And then angels started coming in, and I was like, hold up. And again, the same way I felt when like religion was brought into my life, it's kind of like, hold up, this feels very like strict and rigid, and like I have to do specific things in order to be a part of this specific religion. I guess I didn't tell you it was like Christianity that I was brought into in middle school, high school, although I did receive the Holy Spirit, the gift of tongues, in the church that we went to when I was like 17ish. So I like connected to something at that time, but then I didn't deeply evolve it until recently. I would just pray occasionally in it, and then I'd start crying, and I couldn't handle it, so I stopped. But then, yeah, so this year, January, February, Marchish, the angels started coming in, and I would just feel angelic presence, mostly Michael. And then I had already heard of Metatron, and Metatron had already been kind of coming to me at some times. I just didn't really work with him deeply. And then I got this angels book that I knew, like I'd already been like kind of seeking to learn more about angels through YouTube. So I look up different angels and what they represented. What angel presided over me is Ariel. And then on my birthday, I got gifted some abundance, and I went to a crystal shop in the area, and they had a book about different angels and how to work with angels and invoke them, what they represent, and the history of certain angels. And so now I have a little book that I wrote down all the different angels that I want to work with and what they preside over. Like Michael is protection, but he's also truth. He's also wisdom. Metatron is wisdom. He also presides over children. He presides over education. He presides over divine insight. Raphael is over healing. He protects travelers. Gabriel and Uriel represent like messages and communication and like just clear channeled messages from the angels. Chamuel rules over family and relationships. And I think life purpose, I'm still learning some of them. Ariel is abundance and nature and animals and just gushy, warm. I don't know, I just really like her energy. And then, I mean, there's so many. I could go on. So I feel like I'm like trying to wrap all this together now because I'm about to close it out for you. So I feel like all of like the little angels that had come in, as I learned more about them, as my partner came in, showed me his prayer, as I started praying at night before bed to protect us in certain energetic frequencies that exist within the area we live in. It just kind of feels weird around here sometimes. And implementing these, I noticed huge differences, and especially when I would stop or like fall off of it and then notice what would start happening. I was like, oh, I stopped, oops, I forgot. And so to me, prayer, and I've said this, I said it in the video in my Teachable, to me prayer is like combining your masculine and your feminine, the mother, father, and then placing those hands together, combining those two forces, and then the fingers all point upwards, so energy shooting up towards God's source, divinity, this light, love, all that exists. and sending your heartfelt desire up and out, and requesting it and trusting that it will just then echo out into eternity and come back to you in the form it needs to. And so for me, it's been very powerful to even just sit and pray. I would love some clarity right now. Like when I needed to talk to my mom for like the first major time ever since I ran away, which you can see on this channel, when I left and like hadn't talked to her in like a year or two, like deeply. And I prayed specifically. Oh, they're going to be so mad at me for not remembering. I know Raphael was one of them. I prayed to specific angels. I was like, please support me being able to talk to my mother and just have her understand me and hear me out and know my heart and my intentions, and, you know, just like praying for support in that. And it went beautifully. And I felt so protected and comforted throughout that experience. And praying to different angels for different healing for different family members, like knowing that our guides are always here to help us. When it was angels, when I felt that come in, and I was like, angels, that feels a little, you know, indoctrinated, but it's not. They're just simply beings. They work within the religious-ish realm, but really everything exists within everything. And so angels can work with certain types of people, and then you can maybe work in a completely different area of life and work with angels. Like, you know, just people in church don't work with angels. And so I don't reside within a church really, and I work with angels routinely, and I pray to them and they assist me, and they want to help all humans. It's not like they're like, oh, you don't go to church? I guess can't help you, and like wipe off their wing or something. But that's not who they are. They're just simply love beings. And so to me, what did I even title this? Ability to always receive the clarity one is seeking through prayer. And that has been so true for me. And sometimes what happens, and I'm trying to say this before I close out this video, because I know sometimes people will be like, okay, I prayed for it. Where's my clear and obvious sign out here in my external reality? And I've been there and I've done that. To me, sometimes what happens is I'll start praying. I'll be like, Archangel Michael, or Metatron, whoever I want to pray to. And I'm like, I'm praying right now because I'm looking for some clarity on the situation. I feel like I want to go this way and do this thing, but I'm not entirely sure because of this. And what's happening is as you're praying and speaking it, you kind of start talking about it and having the angels there to listen and then give you like insight as you're talking about it. It's almost like you're carrying on a conversation within the prayer. You're like, and so like you could be like, and I just don't know because like I feel like it might not be right for me. Excuse me. Shaman burps, as Bobby Sue would say. And then your angel might be like, well, what do you really want? Is that what you really want? Like, I do really want it, but, and they're like, don't go to the but. The but is your mind. You're sending your mind back up here to like find some justification for why you can't have it. Send yourself back down into your heart. I really want to do it, so I'm gonna do it. And then like or you can say, but I was also thinking about this opportunity and I really like this one, and then you can talk about that, and then it can go back and forth. Or maybe you won't hear it and you're just talking about it and you're like, so I'd really love some clarity. Perhaps you could give me a sign, or like a family member comes and talks to me and gives me advice, or maybe like if you could guide me to a certain family member I could go to. You might be like, who could I go to? What family member could I talk to this about? Who would understand this? And then see that. Or like maybe if you could provide me like with a song or like some scene in a movie, or just allow me, this is what I usually say, allow me to be in the state of presence and awareness that I need to be in, so that I may receive the insights and clarity by being conscious in my external reality and being present in every moment so that I don't miss the clarity. To me, prayer this last year, because I've only been doing it this last year, has really tremendously changed my intimacy with the level of my own desires, as well as with the level of connection to my guides. Because when you do pray, you truly are understanding. Like, it kind of feels like, you know, when you have like a magic lamp and you're about to make your wishes, it's like you get real clear on what it is you really want before you make that wish, right? So like you get real clear on what it is you are really talking about when you pray. And sometimes it's not even about like knowing specifically what you want to pray for. You might be like, I'm just really confused right now. You just start talking and then you get clear. To me, prayer does a lot of things. It isn't just like that rigid black and white, this is what prayer is. Sorry, hit the hangers. This is what prayer is. To me, it's like, I'm going to connect with myself and connect with you and just center and connect with the divine portals that are me from both halves of me together and shoot it up into all that exists. and know that I'm creating a beautiful container for the clarity to come through. Try it out. I mean, the worst that could happen is you don't really vibe with it, and then you just don't have to do it again. But I recommend you try it at least once. It doesn't have to be about something major. It could be about something minor. It could be to pray for an answer, or you can just pray out of gratitude. You can pray over your food. You can pray before you sleep. You can pray in the shower. I like to pray in the shower. So does my little niece. We both like to pray in the shower. I think that may be a water sign thing. I like to pray in the shower. I get clarity in the shower. I like to pray while I'm in the car before something that I have to do that makes me a little anxious or nervous. So definitely try it out. Let me know. Like this video if you liked it. Like it if you like to pray. Leave a comment, subscribe, join the tribe. I really want to create like a community and talk. This is where all my friends are, and I've said this in the last video, they exist on the internet, which is interesting to me to not have a lot of humans in my daily life just yet. I know the tribe is coming. But yes, my Earth family is here in the screen world, so I want to have a heart-centered connection. That happens more through actually commenting, connecting in that way. So if you want to leave a comment, please do. Let me know if you pray, if you don't, or if you try to pray, and how it feels, or what you notice. Anything you feel called to share at all, I'm open to receiving it. So thank you for listening. Thank you for receiving. And until next time, as always, I'm sending you not separated, but together. Peace.